All right, time to see how the containers communicate with each other, right? And in this specific one, we are going to see how does the front end actually connects with back end, right? In order to demonstrate this specific thing, we are going to make use of one image that is phpMyAdmin, okay? And this is the one that I am talking about. Okay, so basically it actually requires PHP MySQL as in backend to start with, and here we are going to make use of two images, that is PHP MyAdmin and second is MySQL, right? And we are going to connect both of them and check whether it is working fine or not, right? So that's the basic thing, and we are actually going to follow this specific documentation which is provided by default, right? So yeah, let's get started. So first thing first that we need to do here is let us pull the image PHP MyAdmin. All right. So again, it will check in the local whether phpMyAdmin actually present or not. If not present, then it will go to Docker Hub and will actually pull from there. Okay, yep. So let us wait. Okay, let me clear it. And when we run Docker images, this is the image that we were talking about. Okay, so next thing is let us run this image, Docker run phpMyAdmin. Okay, so we did the things by default as is, and it is actually generating the logs. Now what the issue actually is, phpMyAdmin actually started, but we haven't mapped it with any sort of thing. So let us go out from it. Okay, and let us do docker ps, and here the image is not running. Now when you do ps-a, here you'll come to know that there was one entry point command which was executed, and as we already know, phpMyAdmin works on port number 80, so we need to map it. So for that, what we need to do is docker run -dp, because we want to run it in the background and we want to do the port mapping. That's why we are using two attributes in the single one. Okay, and we want to map it with port external port number 8080 with the internal port 80 and the name of the container and the name of the image, that is phpMyAdmin. Okay, already it is started. Now let us validate whether it is actually running or not. So let me go to instance and copy the public IP. Okay, http colon, and here is the port number 8080. Okay, and here as you can see, phpMyAdmin dashboard is now visible. However, there is one more catch over here is, let me write the password. In order to work this specific thing, it will actually require MySQL server, and it is saying that it cannot log into MySQL server. Okay, so the next thing by default what we will do is we are going to pull MySQL image. So docker pull MySQL. Okay, it will again search in local. If it is not found, then it will go to Docker Hub and will pull the image from there. Okay, when I do docker images, you can see MySQL is also up and running. Now let us execute this thing as well. So docker run MySQL. Okay, here there is one catch. We are directly running MySQL, but it actually requires one of the parameter, that is it will require an password, right? So for that we need to pass an environment variable. How do we pass it? So for that what you need to do is docker run, okay, -d, because we want to run it in the background. Okay, and the second is we need to pass the environment variable. So here the environment variable is -e. Okay, and the one that we would be passing over is the MySQL password, and the password would be PASSWORD. All right, followed by the image name MySQL. All right, done. When you do docker ps, MySQL is also up and running. Okay, now what will happen if I try to write the password which we passed and try to log in? It will again throw error because we have created the container but we have not linked them. Now how do we link them? So let us check that. Okay, in order to link them, we actually need to pass one more environment variable in phpMyAdmin, right? But before that, if you want to check what are the current environment variable which are currently present in the container, so for that what you can do is you can just write docker exec. Okay, and here what we need to check is we need to check the environment variable. So pass the container id followed by the env. So whatever environment variables which are currently present or which are passed during the runtime will be present over here. So we pass this specific environment variable as password, and that is actually showing us here. All right, so next thing is let us go back to the documentation, and if we follow this specific one, we are going to see one scenario here where it is actually linked with an external server. Okay, and here it is asking for PMA host. So here we'll need to pass the host ID of MySQL. So how do we find it? So for that it is easy, just write docker inspect followed by the container ID, and here you'll find this IP address. So if we need to copy this IP address, which will be helpful for us, and let me just run docker ps again, and we'll stop the container phpMyAdmin, docker stop phpMyAdmin, and this time when we are running phpMyAdmin, we'll be running it with the proper parameters, right? So docker run -d, because we want it to run into background, -p port mapping, that is port number 8080 to be mapped with port number 80. Okay, and here we are passing one environment variable, okay, and that is pma host. Okay, and here it would be the host id of the one which we copied earlier. So it would be 172.17.0.3. okay, so that is the environment variable that we passed. Okay, next is port mapping, which we done already, followed by the image name, so phpMyAdmin. All right, apart from this, if you want to name the container, we can name it as is. So let me just copy this parameter as well, and before the image name I'll just pass this parameter. So I'll just write phpMyAdmin container. Okay, so let me just explain you this command once again. So here what we are doing is we are running the container in background. That's why -d -p for port mapping, external port number 8080 to be mapped with internal port number 80. Here we are passing one environment variable, that is pma underscore host, where we are passing the IP address of the MySQL container, due to which it will be able to connect with that specific container. Followed by we are passing we want that container to be renamed as phpMyAdmin container, and followed by the image name. When I press enter, it should run, and let me go back here and do a refresh. All right, the username to be root, and the password is again password. When I log in, it should work fine, and as you can see, we are inside phpMyAdmin, meaning MySQL is actually connected with phpMyAdmin container. In order to check that, when you go to database, you can see all the information schema, and when you go to SQL, you can just execute the queries whatever you want. So show databases. All right, and let us click on go, and here you can see the query is actually executed. So yeah, that was all how we can actually connect two containers which are running at the same time parallelly. And if you want to see what are the current environment variable which are currently present in MySQL phpMyAdmin, so for that, docker exec, because it's in running mode, that is inside, we are running the specific command inside the container, followed by the container id of phpMyAdmin, followed by env, and it will list all the environment variables which are currently present in phpMyAdmin. So docker ps, okay, docker exec, followed by the container id. So let me just, yeah, so this is the container id, okay, followed by env. So all the environment variable which are actually inside phpMyAdmin are actually listed here, and this is the pma host which we actually passed during the runtime. All right, so yeah, that was all about this specific demonstration, and see you in the next one.